Welcome to the Sustainable Success Show, where we share real-world ideas, strategies, and systems to help you build success that lasts in business and life. Each episode delivers practical insights you can apply immediately without burnout, chaos, or short-term fixes that don't scale. At the foundation is emotional intelligence and effective communication, how you lead yourself and how you connect with others across personalities, generations, and cultures, because that's where trust, engagement, and performance are created. I'm Christopher Salem, your host, and this is where sustainable success becomes your competitive advantage. Hi, welcome to Sustainable Success. I'm your host, Chris Salem. We want to welcome any new listeners that are just joining us. This is a new format that we just started in January. Yes, after being 8.5 years on Voice America Business Channel, we are now have a video portion to the show. Now you can watch, not only listen to the show, but you can actually see us, see the guests, see me as well, as we talk about a wide variety of different topics in and around the sustainable success and how you can move yourself and your business to the next level. So we encourage you to follow us, this show, Sustainable Success Show, not only here on Apple, but also on Spotify, Amazon, and iHeart. So if you put in Sustainable Success Show, you'll be able to find us under our new format. And again, we want to thank all the existing listeners that have been dedicated and been with us since day one. Again, we are committed to your success. And each and every week, we come prepared with subject matter experts sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your business to the next level. Also, we want to let everybody know to follow us as well on Facebook at Sustainable Success 2017. So check that out. Our show is being brought to you today, as always, by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got an exciting show today. I am so excited to be talking about navigating market disruption, lessons from a lifetime in financial services. We're going to be talking today to Rob Haynie. And Rob, a little bit about Rob before we bring him on. He has been a major influence on the evolution of life settlement industry. So if anybody's familiar with life insurance, this would be life settlement. Life settlement during his almost 29-year career of proactive involvement. Not only has he been directly involved in negotiating and settling several thousand contracts, he's also presently serves on the board of directors of the Life Insurance Settlement Association, LISA as the acronym, and is the charter member of the association's PPC committee, which is charged with the regulatory and legislative activities of the industry. Additionally, he serves on both the Customer Advisory Board of ITM 21st Services and Advisory Board of the Insurance Studies Institute. He currently serves on the Forbes Council as well as the Board of Retirement Genius and Innsmark Advanced Consulting Group. He was named one of the top 10 influential people in life settlement industry worldwide, and he is an alumnus of Florida State University, currently holding a life agent license with Vitatical. I always can never pronounce that right. Settlement broker appointment for LIS, and has spoken at almost every life settlement industry meeting or conference, published articles on the subject, and has given many educational webinars as well. And you'll find out more about how to contact Rob and all of his contact information here in the show notes later. And without further ado, we welcome Rob Haynie to the show. Rob, how you doing today?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Great. Great to have you here. And, Rob, we always like to start the show a little bit about the backstory, about what you're going to talk about today. I mean, it seems like you have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to life settlement and, what goes on with life settlement. Let's just talk a little bit about what brought you there and what have you learned? What are some of the lessons that you learned that you could share with our listeners today?
Well, it's a good place to start because it's an interesting story in the fact that I went to the gym one day in 1993 and saw a person I see there a lot, but I consider to be a pretty good salesman. he started to talk to me about the viatical settlement industry. And I thought at first glance that he was helping people buy life insurance policies from individuals that were afflicted with a terminal or chronic illness, at this time mainly HIV and AIDS. And I thought that this is the most ghoulish thing I've ever heard in my life. I've never heard anything more ghoulish, and I was not interested in the least. I finished my workout. I got in the car. I got to about the first stoplight, and it's then the light bulb went on in my head that, wait a minute, you're keeping the insurance companies honest. You're helping people get the money they need while they're alive to use it for things they need to stay alive. In this case, the medicines that weren't readily available weren't FDA approved in the United States.
When you said HIV and AIDS was huge then.
Huge. I mean, so this is the policies were sold and the people would buy the drugs that they couldn't get otherwise. I mean, there's a movie called The Dallas Buyers Club, which talked about this exact process and talked about selling a life insurance policy in that movie. And we were off. I told my wife, then girlfriend, my mother, that I was doing this, and my mother didn't talk to me for 3, maybe 4 months. My wife thought, girlfriend at the time thought I was insane. All my friends laughed. And 32 years later, I'm talking to you on your podcast.
There you go.
The bottom line is, I love what I do. I'm a one-trick pony in the sense that I don't do anything but life settlements. I don't produce life insurance. I don't compete with the people that bring me the leads. I just help them extract the real value of the life insurance policy at the time. I mean, that's what it is. And why I think insurance producers and financial planners should be paying attention to this, and CPAs and everybody, is you can repurpose these dollars. I mean, on average, they get 6.5 times more than they do if they surrender their policy. So if you think about that in a large context of what is now a life settlement, average face of about $1.5 million, if they're going to get $200,000 if they surrender, what if they got $1.4 million if they did? What would you do with that as a financial planner? Well, you probably put them into another product, which I believe, what's the word I'm looking for, pays a commission. And the client would get something that they need now as opposed to something they don't need anymore. Yeah. Life insurance, and for example, I think the number's 17 trillion, we'll just call it 15 trillion, is in force at any given time in the United States of America. 90% of that will never go to claim. Well, 90. Yeah. Okay. And many people don't know what a life settlement is. And that's why I'm glad to be on a show like yours with a wide variety of listeners.
Would love if you can explain. I mean, I actually have an insurance license myself, even though I'm not active.
Right.
And I'm familiar with life insurance, but I know a lot of listeners may know the surface level what life insurance is. But if we could talk about life settlement, and it could be either on, if it's on a personal or even a business level, depending upon whatever situations they're in.
Right. So people buy life insurance. The most basic example would be someone who's 30, 35 years old, just starting a family, maybe just got married, maybe has a child, just bought a home. And there's probably like infinite number of reasons why you want life insurance in case something bad happens, right? So that makes sense. And it's much more affordable because you're younger. You're going to live a long time. So the premiums are less. So now you're 30, 35 years old. Now you're 70, 75 years old. You have that same life insurance policy. All the reasons that you bought it for, thankfully, didn't come true, right? And now the premiums are more expensive. You don't have a net worth that you really need to worry about estate taxes. So now you're like, what am I doing with this life insurance policy? As I told you earlier, they lapse them. They surrender them for the cash. So what we do is we help people take that life insurance policy out to a marketplace of investors. They give accredited investors, institutional investors, pension funds that like to buy this asset, the life insurance policy, because it's uncorrelated. What does that mean? Well, it means that when the market blows up one day, every day, whatever the numbers are, and you think, oh my Lord, what's my 401k worth today? What's this worth today? What's this worth today? Your life insurance policy, if you're holding one of those or 10 of those or 100 of those, or in many cases, the groups we work with, thousands of those, the death benefit stayed the same, the premium stayed the same, the life expectancy stayed the same. So it's stable. So pension funds, I first talked to these folks in Geneva, of all places, European pension funds. You think pension funds have been around a long time in the United States, you should see how long they've been around over there. They love this because they need to be in alternative assets, and they need something they don't got to watch every day and think like, wait a minute, what's happening with my life insurance portfolios. At the end of the day, the life insurance companies are some of the best, if you will, commercial paper you can buy. I mean, think about the financial crisis. Remember that 2008, 2009? They handed out all the TARP money. How much did they hand out to insurance companies?
Yeah. Yeah.
None.
None. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't need it. AIG a little bit, but their component inside the insurance component inside that large organization was the healthiest of all of them. So that's why I like what I do, because we get to talk to people on a personal level and say to them, look, let's look what your policy was. There's no obligation. It's a free, non-binding appraisal. Someone say, well, what are my options? Well, if you want to know your real options, you got to really compare an apple to an apple. You can't just assume that you know what the policy is worth in the secondary market till you get an appraisal. And people are surprised all the time at how much they get. Sometimes they're surprised how little they'll get. But when they get a little bit of money in the terms of an offer, it's generally because their life expectancy is longer. So there's always some good news in almost every scenario with us. So our goal is just to educate people that don't make a mistake and lapse or surrender a life insurance policy that may be worth 6.5 times more. Don't do it. Let's find out what it's worth. And then ultimately, you hold the decision-making capabilities inside your own network, whether that's your financial planner, your family, whomever, and decide what's the best step. We can help you reduce faces, sell half of the policy, keep half of the policy, use the funds from the sale of the other to pay for the other one. All kinds of different ways it could work.
Yeah,
But the key is, Chris, this is the crazy part. Life insurance companies, and I argue with this all the time, don't let their captive agents discuss it. They're forbidden almost. And again, that's as about as legal as it gets.
like you said, a captive agent is only going to be, that
New York Life.
New York Life. They're protecting their parent.
They're not going to sell that because, God forbid, someone may actually have to pay a death claim. Now, if you check out the financial strength of New York Life, that shouldn't be a concern at all. We sold about 3,000 or 4,000 policies per year the last 4 years. Per year. Okay. Death benefit, total in the last 4 years that we did a market conduct survey inside our association. We've given, I think the number is $3 or $4 billion more to the clients than they would have otherwise received. So again, these are all things that go back into the local and state economies that they can utilize their own money to do things that they need when they retire. So for example, I live in Florida. Florida has a lot of retirees, and we have a lot of assisted living facilities, memory care facilities, adult communities. Have you checked one of those out lately, especially in Florida? They are not cheap at all.
Yeah.
So the biggest trend in our business and what we're helping people do is to what's called age in place. So they have the home that they paid for 35, 40, 50 years. They don't have to sell it. They can kind of retrofit it to fit their needs currently and what needs might be in the future. Stay in the house. They're familiar with the area. They're familiar with the postman. They're familiar with all the local people that they see. Their memories stay intact longer, and they don't feel lonely. They don't get depressed.
Yeah.
The other thing is they don't sell that asset, because once you sell that house, that money's now yours, and you go give it to these assisted living facilities. They just take the money. You don't buy anything. You pretend
buy anything. Yeah. It goes quick, whether if it's assisted living or even a nursing home, it goes quick.
Quick is unbelievable. My mother's in one now, and so it is unbelievable. They actually, when she checked in, maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago now, they had a list of all things they do. Every year they'll check one of those off. They won't be doing that anymore.
Long-term care insurance, it may not even cover everything that there has to be done anyway. So
correct. So these are things that we want to give you the opportunity to do. People say they're always looking for, I want to sell new product as a financial advisor. What product can I sell you? Well, in order to sell a product, the client needs money. And if they don't have the money, then maybe they should be looking for, okay, let's look at your life insurance policies and see if they're actually performing as expected. Are they doing what they need to do? Do you really need this much death benefit? Many seniors in the life settlement industry, in my opinion, have life insurance policies they don't even know why they bought. They don't even remember who they bought them from. They might have.
Right. I've seen that. Like you said, like they'll go, yeah, I got this. I didn't even know who I don't even know who the guy is. And for all I know, he's probably not even in the business anymore. Who knows?
Correct. So
Yeah.
those premiums keep coming. They don't ever stop. They never stop the premiums. So you're become the premiums, and they're really saying to themselves, what am I doing? So when they sell a policy in my market, they're like, well, wait a minute. Why don't the kids pay for it? We go, believe me, the kids sign off. So the kids know they can keep that death benefit and maintain the premiums. But the kids see that and start to think, wait a minute, I'm not going to pay that money. So carriers look at that. They do something what's called lapse-based pricing. You probably have heard this. That is why these policies, they know the numbers. They're smarter than I am for certain. They know 90% are going to go into the pockets. So they push as much out as they can. They know there was a couple years ago, actually, when I got into the business around the turn of the century, they had what was called disappearing or vanishing premiums.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. That's been canceled because that policy, well, they shouldn't have said that they lied because they didn't lie. The premium did disappear. It went from a smaller number to a larger number. It didn't vanish in terms of zero, but that was misleading. But the people were told to bought that. My father-in-law bought that policy. It was a nightmare. He's like, oh yeah, after 7, 8 years, you'll be done. The premium will pay for itself. It didn't. He needed not only the same amount of money, he needed more. And then a good friend of mine, one of the best insurance producers in the country, switched him to a policy and just kind of like, now he doesn't pay any money whatsoever, but he knows what he was doing. So a lot of these folks have no idea. To your point, they're not in the business for very long. They're not very good at it. They hit their friends and family up, and then once that's exhausted, they're done. They move into another career. So these family members are holding these life insurance policies. They just don't know what to do with. So they look to the financial professional, and in the case of it, as we talked about earlier, a captive agent, they're forbidden from talking about this. We're regulated by the same entity. The insurance agent, which I am also, is regulated by the Department of Insurance. When I sell a policy, I have to tell the client all the inferior options that are also available for them. So if they're going to get $1.4 million, I could say, but before Chris, don't take that $1.4 million. You could surrender it for $200,000, or you could take the $200,000 and use that money to pay the premiums till there's none. Then you can let it lapse. No one ever does that. But when someone calls up and says, "Okay, what are my options? I want to surrender my life insurance policy," it's not incumbent upon the carrier to tell them that there's a life settlement market.
Yeah.
Although they should. So that's what I fight with every day. I mean, that's why I feel like I get up every day and I tape up like going to a boxing match to really get our message out there. So, but I love it. So I'm 61 years old and it keeps me young. I feel like I'm 41.
You're not about age. I'm going to be 59 in July, and I love what I do, and it keeps me going. And like you said, I like being not just busy, but I like being useful. You know what I mean?
Learning. I like to learn stuff. I mean, I learn stuff all the time. I feel like every day I come in and think, wow, I'm really doing well. And then I hear somebody talk about things they've done for their client. I go, man, I am an idiot. I haven't done that. But that's okay. It's never too late,
I love it. I love it. Well, so some of the, when we look at, going back to what you talked about, this market disruption and what you've learned in financial services, share with us some things that with the life settlements, where, maybe what are some applications they can, really use this for? You already you did touch on some areas, but maybe other specific areas that you think would be useful and of value to people listening, those listening later.
So the best stories are when the family doesn't need the insurance and they're not really in financial concern. They're pretty safe.
They have a nice nest egg.
Yeah, they're good.
Assets.
But they want to do something differently. So what's been the majority of them? We hear this time and time again, even the commercials on TV will mention this. They will pay for their grandkids' college. This is a way to they have all this money set aside. They have their retirement. They have everything saved. Everything's good. They're living in their house. They're still in good health. They've got money, not necessarily if they need to push themselves into a facility, they can do that. But they don't have any extra money. And they got the grandkids. And I have 2 daughters that are sophomores at the University of Colorado. So I can assure you, I know what college costs.
I got one at Coastal Carolina. I know.
There you go. You got a better football team and a better field. And my,
They're known. They're baseball. They're like
is that
I
right?
think they're ranked number 6 in the country in college baseball. World. They were in the World Series last year with LSU.
I like their colors.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
so they take that and they begin to set aside if it's early enough in the process to set up a 529, but they can also just take it and just flat out just pay for it. Don't gift it to the children. They work
Yeah.
with their financial planner for that. And that is, that's a $30,000 to $50,000 a year number per kid, depending on where they go. So that's been something that people are ecstatic about. Think about the pressure that takes off of mom and dad when grandmom and grandpa can do that for their children. That money now goes to help them when they get out of college and they have to get their first apartment or move to a different city. So those are some things that I know. There's all kinds of things, pay off homes, pay off the boat, pay whatever it is. We've had people take the money back in the Vatican settlement days, non-HIV, but someone with cancer was going to die. There's just no doubt about it. When they can still function and they still felt good, they took all the money and they flew or paid for the entire trip for, I think the number was like 32 different people in their family to Disney World for a week.
Yeah.
Paid the whole thing. Now, if you've been to Disney World lately, that's how expensive that is. But then it was something that there's pictures of that of the gentleman with his wife, and he's the kids were around him, and all the pictures. He looked great. I think he lived another 6-7 months, but his wife's told me at the time, and this is about 96, that the smile never left his face after coming back from Disney World. So that would have never happened had he not sold his life insurance policy. He didn't need the money for anything other than that was his specific purpose.
With one last memory that he wanted to leave his family with, and himself, for
so I always say we help put life back into life insurance, right? Because life insurance is kind of like a weird name for something that it is. It's death insurance.
And death insurance. It's not life. And that's a whole other area. Like, we've had some discussions about infinite banking. Like you could turn your whole life insurance policy into your own bank, that type of thing.
And there's strategies for almost everything. And I think, and listen, I'm not knocking life insurance. I own life insurance. I think life insurance is a necessary. I mean, I like life insurance almost better than I like car insurance. And certainly in Florida, we have to have flood and wind,
hurricane, and
it's ridiculous. So, but you don't go, well, I've gotten all this coverage, so now I just hope I get a category 4 to hit me dead on in the face. The answer is no. Same with life insurance. So you have a misnomer in your head about what it's worth. So people don't realize, number one, that there are options outside of even life settlements, right? You don't even know you can reduce faces. What people borrow against their life insurance, that's inexpensive, but it sometimes is a necessary evil. We don't help people that are 55 and healthy. We don't, because their life expectancy is too long. But we try to advise them there's other things they can do. So they're not told a lot. And to your point, again, I want to echo what you said, which is the most important thing. When you buy life insurance from somebody, they're never really there at the end of the day. They're gone. Most of the big advisors that we work with are high net worth. And they're around because they're making a fortune. But when you're in that middle market or smaller market, it's just a one of the rocks you step on across the river. And next topic. So those clients don't get that customer service. They don't get that newsletter. They don't get that information sent to them. They don't listen to podcasts that their producers on. They don't understand all the ramifications of what you can do, what you can't do. And with us, we're just like, look, let's get an appraisal. You don't have to sell it. Sometimes we give an offer to a client, honestly, that's so good that they can't believe it's that good. And they look at their policy, back to your banking example, and think it's like, okay, now this is a nest egg. I'm going to sleep with that under my pillow because now I know if I need it, that's what I can get it for. But I also need the life insurance right now. So it's a good thing to have now going forward, but you'll never know that unless you apply. You got to make a step. Our application is very simple. It's state approved. We collect medical records, current medical records mostly, and we collect insurance information, most current illustration, and then literally it's math. I mean, they just decide life expectancy versus how much the premiums are for how long they think they need to pay them. And that's how the offer's made. It's not complex at all. In the
It's like probably like an algorithm they're using, like you said, like that the base that.
it's not whether you just look at mortality tables and go, okay, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Seniors in the life settlement market typically, well, people with life insurance typically are different than people without it. So they tend to be a little bit richer, a little bit better off. They tend to be more educated. They tend to have, they tend to go to the doctor more regularly. They tend to listen to the doctor, which is key. The doctor says, hey, Chris, you need to quit smoking and drinking half a bottle of Jack Daniels every night, or you're going to die. You tend to do that, whereas other people won't do that. The most important thing they can do is if somebody says, Chris, you need to go to Houston and to the MD Anderson Clinic and get this cancer specifically treated there because they're the best in the world, and other people can't do that. So thereby, you tend to live 2.5 to 3 years longer than the average person. It's just the way it works. And they know that. And the buyers know that too.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Well, there's this some valuable information that you are sharing here. As we get near the end of the show, I wanted to give you like just a few minutes. Like, what else can you share with us about what you're talking about today? Why this is something to kind of get have on your radar. Especially for those that do have a life insurance policy. Maybe they haven't looked at it could be a number of years. Who knows?
Sure.
They have it, but they just haven't even thought about it. Hasn't even been, included into their overall strategy other than they had it, insurance in the event that they died.
Well, that's a great question. And now because it's as timely can get, about a year ago, a good friend of mine who was in the business when I first got in, but was in a documentary by the New Yorker. It was called Cashing Out. It's about the beginning of the radical settlement industry and especially the people that it helped. So it took a story of 3 individuals, Scott Page being one of them, my friend, and he said, "Hey, I think you should get with Lisa and get Lisa behind this." And I said, "Well, how about you come over and show it to me?" So my wife and I watched it with his partner Dirk, and I watched it and about 5 seconds into this thing, I said, "All right, we're doing it." So Lisa became one of the larger financial contributors to the effort. I believed the film at the time had a shot of winning an Academy Award. That's what I had in my head. So 2 weeks ago, it was shortlisted on the documentary short. It's people can watch this movie by going to the New Yorker / cashing out. It's about 39 minutes and 52 seconds, which gets it right under the 40-minute.
That's not a lot. I mean, that's not going to take up a lot of time. Yeah.
No. And you see the transaction from the actual people that got it and what happened in their lives, and the people that was another individual in the show that couldn't get life insurance for a myriad of reasons and now could after it was also. That shows you the value of life insurance, but it kind of shows you the transactions the same today as it was then. I mean, it's basically based upon life expectancy. You're taking an asset and you're getting to use that money for what you want to use it for. So in 9 days, we will know if we will go from the short list to the nomination. And if we get the nomination, then we will keep our fingers crossed for, I guess in March, they'll have the winner at the Academy Awards. But it's been an incredible experience for us just to be a part of the film as it is right now, because it's a new way to tell the story. Because you're going back to the days when I got into business, when my mom thought I was crazy, my wife and girlfriend thought I was nuts. And here we are again, in 2026, we're talking about what happened in the past. And at the end of the day, you just take AIDS and you get rid of the AIDS, and all of a sudden you make it cancer, or you make it, a heart attack. Anything that's happened that changes your life expectancy is a reason to evaluate your life insurance policy. Do you really need it? Can you afford it? Is there something else you'd rather do? If it's take that vacation to Europe you've never taken before, this might be a way to pay for it. If it's to pay for your grandchildren's college education, as we mentioned earlier, that might be an option too. If it's to retrofit your home, or if it's just to go buy a car and drive as fast as you can across the country, that's up to you, because it's your money. It's not anybody else's, and you should find out what it's worth. So I think that was the thing that really, because it's a way to watch what we do and understand now. Okay, now I get it. It makes sense. Because I'm not going to tell you about what happens in the documentary. I want you to watch it, but it's unbelievable, the power that this had over people back then, especially. And to be honest with you, this was started in a grassroots effort. This was not something the financial market came in and figured out.
Yeah.
It was the people that had the policies that figured it out.
Wow. Rob, this has just been a wonderful insights from you today about this. As a matter of fact, this is probably, I don't think we've ever covered this topic, in the show's history over it. So I am so happy to cover this, and having a life insurance, background myself, even though I haven't been active in it in quite some time, I understand. And I'm really glad that you were on the show to share this valuable information to the business leaders, both on a personal and professional level, that are looking for quality content that you shared here today. I wish we had more time, and we'll definitely have you on a future show to elaborate further on this topic as we move forward. I want to thank you personally for taking the time to be here, not only for myself, but the rest of my team here at Sustainable Success. And I wanted to give you a few minutes to share, have you share with the audience, how can they get to know you better? How do they get in contact with you, and anything that you'd like to offer them here today?
Well, thank you, Chris. As I said earlier to you, this is the best thing I can do in terms of to get the word out, because I'm talking to not only you, and I can see you, and you look great this morning, by the way, but all of your listeners that are listening live and in the future. This is marketing, as far as I'm concerned, because they trust you, and thereby hopefully will trust me by extension.
Exactly.
So I'm easy to find. My name is, again, Rob Haynie. My email address, you can email me at rob@lisettlements.com. You can visit our website, lisettlements.com. My cell phone number, if you want to call me personally, I'll answer it, I hope, 954-599-4433. And the name of my company is Life Insurance Settlements, Inc. And I'm a broker, so I don't buy your policy. I just help you get the most money for it.
You're helping them. You're serving them. You're not serving the other entities. That's what I love. We'll make sure that all of Rob's contact information that he shared will be in the show notes. So you'll have that there to reach out. You could also reach out to us, and we'll make sure to connect you with Rob as well. Again, we hope you received a lot of value, everybody. And we want to thank everybody for being part of this new format. And we welcome you that this show airs every Friday now at 12 p.m. East Coast time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure that you get the word out there. And if you'd like to see content that we have not covered here on this show, feel free to reach out to our Sustainable Success team here at chris@sustainablesuccess.net. That's chris@sustainablesuccess.net. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next Friday at 12 p.m. or 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Take care.